Yes, about story of Pi. Sorry, life of Pi. Yeah, okay. As an eccentricity researcher or a creativity researcher, I would say both are same. Because I have told you, I have discovered that creativity cannot be possible without eccentricity. Yeah, about the film. About the film, yeah, I can perhaps even write a 50-page booklet on if we make a creative analysis of the film. Yes. Yeah, I'm lucky. I don't watch TV, I don't see movies, like I don't read newspapers. But very luckily, I come across important news. Similarly, very fortunately, I happen to see the film The Life of Pi. Of course, it's marvelous. Uh, Ang Lee, yeah, the one who directed, yes, Crouching Tigers, yeah. Yeah, I have my own ideas about a film director's perspective in training managers. I consider, as I've told you before, film directors are perhaps the most original, creative people in among the various professionals. Yes, correct. Yeah, from this film, what I want to say is only very few things as of now. As I have always mentioned, one individual just cannot become creative, just cannot. The engines of intellect, attention, thinking, observation, internal dialogue, conceptualization, all those engines of intellect of the human being just cannot trigger itself or invoked and developed without undergoing varied range of experiences in the early development times. That is the most remarkable thing about that film also. Um, yeah, that beautiful novel by that Canadian, I suppose, Ian Martel. There's a clear history that guy became eccentric because of that coincidence of his own name, Pi, Pissing Patel. That name, the social network of unique experiences out of that name Pi, that really makes the child, the creative thinking process of the child sort of initiated, and he goes in search of something else and so on and so forth. Yes. Similarly, that boy Pi could manage the perils of the most dangerous seas only because of that unique background of his. He's facing difficulties even as a little child, facing abandonment as a little child, and a very unique father whose dialogues are very unique, and that kind of a background made him wonderful. Therefore, he could manage the troubles of the seas, and yeah, yes, and yes. Even as I told you, even the film director, Ang Lee, if he is a creative, original, genius director, I'm sure his background also must be something like that. He also must have faced the difficulties as a little boy, little child, a little adolescent times, even later. Because without that perils of, without that, let us say, martial arts training, why the training with the sword? In the Zen Master's sword training is the finest training, because if you make a mistake, your head will be cut. Similarly, experimenting or experiencing with the sword of life, that only sharpens the intellect engines. That is, I would say, the number one theme people should take from the life of Pi. Look at the modern generation of children today. Everything is taken care of. They are highly protected. The stupidity of some people has introduced norms and rules. As here in the West, in the US and other countries, even a little child can dial at the police and complain against punishment. And in all kinds of comfortable, smooth environment, they want the children to develop ethics and values and wonders of intelligence. Impossible. They are all likely to be immoral, unethical and greedy, haver kind of people. As I always told you, if it's not for falling down, no child would have learned to walk. Similarly, their life should be really, really rigorous in order to develop the discipline of intellect. The modern schooling is absolutely against it. The modern parenting is making the great human powers a useless, rotten thing. That is the main message people should take from the life of Pi. And please, again, you see, in that film, the writer, of course, very original, that life is meaningless without a company, without the company of a powerful source, the tiger. If it was a human being, perhaps one of them would have been already killed. There would have been conflict, perhaps. Yeah, you need in life a company at least of an enemy, of a powerful enemy. And all kinds of things are there. There are little things, it's all part of the novel. So if you ask me, what is the most critical thing out of the story of Pi is about training the child, especially in the coming times. Especially in the coming times. If the so-called predictions about 2012, 13, 14, which are not because of predictions, of course change is the law of the nature, everything has never been the same. The universe is a continuous changing process, so things will never remain this way as it is. Whereas the majority, mediocrity, girl-led common communication insist on the continuity of the comfortable zones, it won't happen. So you can see what will happen in the coming times. Children and people trained in comfort zones and all kinds of guaranteed happiness of life. Let us see. In that sense, perhaps Ang Lee has made a very critical decision of releasing this film. Life of Pi at this point of time. Only those who are really strong by their creative intelligence and the presence of mind and absolute nobodiness will survive. Of course,